Welcome back to 15 Lanes Talk, Game Week 31 preview show. Remember, this is the last game. Then we head into the international break. You understand? So we are going to talk about all the games that will be happening all over the weekend as Liverpool will be traveling to the Amex Stadium to take on Brighton. Manchester United will be traveling to Vitality Stadium to take on Bournemouth. And Chelsea will be heading to the Dixon Hill Stadium to take on Everton. And the big one of the weekend is the Carabao Cup Final, where Arsenal will be taking on Manchester City at the Wembley Stadium. Let's go! Manchester United versus Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. Some of the biggest talking points in this game. Manchester United are going at the Vitality Stadium with one aim of getting a win and also extend their lead at the top of the table so that they can cement their third position. You understand? This is also a high-stake game since Manchester United has a lot of pressure to cement that position. You understand? But the last meeting between these two, it ended in a 4-4 draw, whereby this game was it was an action-packed game. You understand? Goals were everywhere in the first leg. You understand? Are we going to see the same thing happen in this fixture come Saturday? You understand? And Matthias Cunha, Benjamin Sesko, the signings of the summer. These past few weeks, we have seen Matthias Cunha and Benjamin Sesko on fire. You understand? They have been scoring left, right, and center. Since Carrick took over, they have been on fire. Are they going to help Manchester United extend their lead against Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium? And remember, Bournemouth are unbeaten in their last 8 games. You understand? They are on form. This is not going to be an easy game for Manchester United. So every team has something it needs in this game. Are we going to see Bruno Fernandes also add on his assists as he's aiming to break the assist record of this season? Brighton versus Liverpool. Some of the biggest talking points going into this game as Brighton welcome Liverpool at the Amex Stadium. Liverpool are hoping to bounce back to their winning ways as we saw them do the same thing in Champions League in midweek as they humbled Galatasaray 4-0. You understand? Remember last week they played Tottenham Hotspur. Everyone thought that since Liverpool is taking on a wounded Tottenham Hotspur, the worst Tottenham Hotspur team in like over a decade. You understand? They were going to get a simple win and they closed the gap on Aston Villa, and Chelsea were dropped points in that same week, but Liverpool ended up dropping points. You understand? But we saw them humbling Galatasaray. Are they going to come with the same spirit that they shown in the Galatasaray game, or are they going to fold under pressure? You understand? On the other hand, we know Brighton is a bogey team. Like, it's not an easy game to go at the Amex Stadium. And we know the last meetings between Brighton and Liverpool, like the last 5 games, Brighton has some wins in and there. You understand? It has been given Liverpool hard time. We saw Mohamed Salah score in Champions League against Galatasaray. Is he going to be firing again when they visit Amex Stadium? Because he ended his drought, but the drought is still there in the Champions League, as Mohamed Salah finally found his spark to help Liverpool to secure the top 4 position. Everton versus Chelsea. Some of the biggest talking points going into this game. Chelsea will be traveling to the Dixon Hill Stadium to take on Everton. You understand? But remember, Chelsea are hoping to bounce back to their winning ways. They have lost 3 games in the row. 2 Champions League games and 1 Premier League game against Newcastle last week. So Chelsea are hoping to see like they can bounce back to their winning ways, and that is the second game Liam Rafinha lost. Is he going to get another loss at Dixon Hill Stadium, or Chelsea are going to bounce back to their winning ways? You understand? The problem here, Liam Rafinha always tries an error. He's always changing also his system. So Chelsea are going into this game, and remember also Everton, we saw last week, they're humbled by Arsenal. And since David Moyes is also trying to push hard to see that Everton gets back to Europe, this is not going to be an easy game. We saw Arsenal playing this game till the 89th minute to get a goal. And on the other hand, Everton in the Arsenal game, they had their chances here and there. So they are going to meet Chelsea that has a leaky defense. We all know Chelsea's defense is struggling this season. They have struggled. They have spent $1 billion, but their team, mostly in the backside, is still struggling. You understand? And if you go on the table right now and check, Chelsea has 48 points and Everton has 43 points. So if Everton wins this game, it will be on 46 points. So Everton is also going in this game hoping to close that gap, since Moyes, as I've said, he needs to get Everton back to Europe, either Conference League or Europa League. You understand? And he won the Conference League with West Ham. Understand? Yao Pedro. Is Yao Pedro going to show up again? Yao Pedro is an away killer. You understand? If you see his last game since Liam Rafinha took over Chelsea, he has scored 8 goals away from home. You understand? So is he going to come up again? Is he going to shine when they are at the Dixon Hill Stadium, or is he going to be quiet? And the big one of the week, Arsenal versus Manchester City in the Carabao Cup Final. Some of the biggest talking points going into this game that will be happening at the Wembley Stadium. The last time Arsenal met with Manchester City in the Carabao Cup Final was in 2018, and Arsenal suffered a heavy defeat of 3-0. In that same week, they played Manchester City. They played Manchester City like 3 times in 1 week, and they conceded 9 goals back to back. And one of the game was the Carabao Cup Final. You understand? Arsenal lost heavily, and now this time around, are we going to see Arsenal get their revenge on Manchester City in the Carabao Cup Final, and also end their drought of the Carabao Cup Final, because they last won the Carabao Cup in 1993. So they have a chance to lift it, as they will be heading into the international break. We know Mikel Arteta has beaten Pep Guardiola at the Wembley 3 times. You understand? 1 in the FA Cup Final and 2 in the Charity Shield. You understand? So Pep Guardiola hasn't beaten Mikel Arteta at the Wembley, and Mikel Arteta hasn't lost a single game at the Wembley Stadium. Yeah? This game also will give Arsenal a chance to see their quadruple. If Arsenal wins this game, their chance of winning the quadruple will still be alive. And on the other hand, this game also is the only hope of Manchester City to win a trophy this season as things stand. You understand? Because if you see the league, they are 9 points away from Arsenal. If you go in the Champions League, they were knocked out by Real Madrid, and in FA Cup, they are still in the quarterfinals. You understand? So this game is very important, and it's a very high-stake game, because both teams know they have to leave everything on the pitch, since next week we'll be starting the international breaks. You understand? So like, this is a very, very big final for both teams to see that they can secure a trophy this season. There is a chance that we see Manchester City to be knocked out in 2 trophies in the gap of 7 days. You understand? Carabao Cup and the Champions League. So we just have to wait on Sunday and see what's going to happen